It's my pleasure to invite and introduce Professor Sanjay Srivastava, the esteemed Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Bihar. He is a distinguished academic leader with a rich background in political science and international relations. Prior to joining MGCU, he served as a professor at Banaras Hindu University, where he contributed extensively to research, curriculum development, and administration. Professor Srivastava's expertise in India's foreign policy, conflict resolution, and peace building has earned him several prestigious positions, including being a Fulbright visiting scholar and a nominee by the Honorable President of India on the Executive Council of Jamia Millia Islamia. He has held influential roles on various committees, including NAAC and UGC, and has delivered lectures on India's foreign policy across the globe. His international recognition includes serving as the ICCR Chair of Contemporary Indian Studies at Yerevan State University, Armenia, a Salzburg Seminar Fellow and UGC Career Award recipient. Professor Srivastava continues to contribute to academia through major research projects, leadership training, and global collaborations, embodying excellence in both scholarship and administration. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Professor Sanjay Srivastava.
Namaste, sir. Most welcome.
Namaskar.
Really honored to see you and have you in this global program. Whole stage is yours, sir. We are looking forward to listen from you about the topic, the role of inner peace in youth empowerment. Pranam, sir.
So, thank you, Dr. Vikrant Umarji, for providing me this excellent platform. And to the listeners, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. When we talk about inner peace, actually, it is the tranquility of mind, the calmness, the serenity, when the mind is free of any confusion, bewilderment, or any sort of binary or any sort of dilemma. Now, there are, in this world, the fast globalizing world where information technology is very important, component of our life. Social media is there. Then we have a lot of social cleavages, regional cleavages, as well as international, fissures. So individuals, life become a sort of full of stress, full of tension, full of worries and excitement and such kind of anxiety, such kind of things. So how to develop inner peace is something very, very important, very significant question of today's especially of today's youth. So when we say that how we can achieve mindfulness, how we can achieve tranquility of mind. So there are many ways we can do it. For example, if we talk about 14 Dalai Lama, he said that the question of real lasting world peace concerns human beings. So basic human feelings are also as its roots. Through inner peace, genuine world peace can be achieved. In this, importance of individual responsibility is quite clear. An atmosphere of peace must first be created within ourselves, then gradually expanded to include our families, our communities, and ultimately the whole planet. Now, there are many ways we can, achieve this mindfulness, achieve this serenity of mind. For example, we can meditate, we can live in the present, such kind of thing, cultivate a positive mindset, then develop the love for yourself, practice self-care, visualize a peaceful place, learn to breathe effectively, uh, access to nature, be very close to nature, be grateful, work on acceptance, practice non-judgment. You need not to be quite judgmental in your approach to others or approach to society, foster deeper connection. Such kind of things are there, but they are bereft of any philosophical foundation. They are bereft of any philosophical framework of life, that how the life should be, or how an individual should behave in the life. So for this, Indian philosophy is very important. It can explain you how to behave, what should be your dispositions, what should be your approach, attitude, and perspective towards life, and what you should do as a human being when you are on earth. Uh, you know, um you would have might have heard about Lord Krishna and his creation, Bhagavad Gita, where he propounds the philosophy of Sankhya, and that is based on also on equanimity, that one should be, indifferent to pleasure and pains, and sorrow and happiness. So this, what is this Sankhya, and how does it progress, is very necessary, and this gives you a philosophical framework that can determine, your actions, and finally you will have a inner peace, as well as the social and the regional or international peace. Now, you imagine, nearly 4,000 years back, Lord Krishna had given these ceremonies, that what is our duty, how we should perform our karma, and our deeds, and what kind of, religiously we should put our efforts on our karma. So you imagine that there is a war field where the cousins are pitted against each other, pitched against each other, and one is Arjun, who is a disciple of Lord Krishna. And when Arjun sees that there are, in the opposite camp of the army, there are his brothers and his uncles and maternal uncles and friends and, colleagues, he refused to fight that religious war, which had happened because the Pandavas were deprived of, their rights and their privileges. So Lord Krishna tells him, he gives, Arjun is very scared that he's going to kill his uncles and his brothers in the war, and what he's going to get out of it. So that was a big question before Arjuna. So Lord Krishna tells him, that what should be his disposition, what should be his approach to, such kind of war, or such kind of activity, and the dutifulness, and how he should be on the how she should, behave in the line of duty. Lord Krishna says, Hatova va prapsasi swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmad utishta konte yudhaya kritanishaya. It means, if you fight, you will either be slain on the battlefield and go to the celestial abodes, or you will gain victory and enjoy the kingdom of earth. Therefore, arise with determination, O son of Kunti, and be prepared to fight. So it means that the Lord is saying that doing, waging this war is your duty, and you need to, you should not care about what the result will be. And about the results, he has very profound sermons and sermon, and very very popular also in India and the other parts of the world, where Lord Krishna says that this is the second chapter of Gita, verse 47. Karmane vadika raste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karm phal heturubhu mate sangostu swakarmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Neither consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, nor be attached to inaction. You just see how the Lord is telling about the equanimity, how he's telling about that only duty is important, and the individual has, the rights over his duties, his karmas, his actions. He has no right over the result of that karma, and he should not bind himself to the result or the fall of that karma. So this is, something very very important, and that will streamline your action, that will streamline, your duty, and that will, that will not scare you, even killing your brothers and cousins and your uncles, when you are, fighting a war for the sake of righteousness. Now, Lord again says, in chapter 2 verse 38, sukh dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yudhai yujasvam nevam papam vapsas. Lord says, fight for the sake of duty, treating alike happiness and distress, loss and gain, victory and defeat. Fulfilling your responsibility in this way, you will never incur sin. That if you follow the principle of equanimity and you are not perturbed by pleasure or pain or comfort or discomfort, profit or loss, victory or defeat, then you are going to have a kind of karma which is free of sins. Lord also says, he tells about that how an individual should be. He uses the term sthit pragya. Sthit pragya is a sort of, I should say, the transcendentally situated human being, the human being who is indifferent to sorrow and pleasure, to gains and losses, defeat and victory. And Lord says in verse 55, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parth manugatan atmanyev atmana tushta sthit pragya tadochyate. Lord says that when one discards all selfish desires and cravings of the senses that torment the mind and becomes satisfied in the realization of self, such a person is said to be transcendentally situated. So, all through Gita, Lord tells about that human beings should be transcendentally situated. They should not be affected by the pleasures or the pains. So, this is the equanimity, and this equanimity can bring inner peace, that can bring, that can make today's youth to fight the stress, to fight the anxiety, and fight the mental tension. So, and this is not, something very easy that you can attain the transcendental situation. It requires a lot of practice. It requires a lot of principle of self limitation, self encapsulation, that how you will not be, attached to your gains or the losses and victory or the defeat. So this requires a lot of practice. But if one is sthit pragya or transcendentally situated, he is working on the principle of equanimity, then he will be full of peace, he will be full of mindfulness and free of tension. Lord says that, in Gita, he not only tells the goal, but he also tells how to reach to that goal, how to become sthit pragya or transcendentally situated. Lord says, dhyayeto vishyaye punsah sangasteshu samjayate sangat sanjayate kamah kamat krodhopajayate krodha bhavati sammohat smriti vibhrama smriti bhrinshat buddhinashat pranshati. Lord says that while contemplating on the objects of senses, one develops attachment to them. Attachment leads to desire, and from desire arises anger if the desire is not fulfilled. So, Lord says that don't be attached to desire, don't be attached to the result of your karma. Anger leads to clouding of judgment, which results in bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, the intellect gets destroyed. And when the intellect is destroyed, one is ruined. So this is the whole, chronology of or the sequence of the event, that if we are, attracted towards objects or the senses or such kind of gains, then finally we are going to have the desire for them. And if our desire is not fulfilled, then it will generate anger, and anger will, lead to clouding of the judgment, and which will result in the bewilderment, which will result in the loss of the memory. And then finally our intellect is destroyed, and when intellect is destroyed, then everything is destroyed and the one is ruined. So one should be, transcendentally situated as per Gita. This is something, very, very philosophical, and this gives you a philosophical basis of life, how to live life. It's not just you are doing meditation, you are doing yoga, or you are doing some exercises to become mindfulness. You will be, perturbed when you when you face difficult situation. But if you follow this Sankhya Yoga of Gita, then you will have to be, profoundly rooted in the philosophy of Gita, a philosophy of being a Sitpragya, philosophy of being, equanimity, and then you will be able to fight the very, very difficult situation. These, doing yoga, doing exercises, or have a positive kind of thinking. These are just, for the things which can keep your inner peace working only for few, on few occasions only. But if you want to have it on the ideological basis, that is forever, then you need to follow this Sankhya Yoga of Gita. Now, Lord uh, tells about, the reality of the Muni, or who is a transcendental human being. Lord says, ya nisha sarvbhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. What all beings consider as day in the night of ignorance for the wise, and what all creatures see as night is the day for the introspective sage. So if you want to achieve the permanent, inner peace, you need to study, or I would recommend that you study the philosophy that is propounded in Gita, enshrined in Sankhya Yoga, and that gives you, the concept of equanimity, give you concept of a sthit pragya, or transcendentally situated human being, and how you have rights over your duties, your karma, but you do not have right over its results, and the results should not, digress you from your, karma. So this gives you a philosophy which is more profound, which is more permanent, and that will be something lifelong, because other things could be for some time only, but this philosophy of Gita, of karma yoga, is going to, give you a lot of sense of satisfaction, sense of purpose, sense of righteousness, sense of confidence, and the inner peace. And if you follow, if the individual human beings follow this all through their life, they will have the inner peace, because they are not looking at the results, they are not attached to the results, they are not, there is no enamoring for the result. The enamoring is, or the right is, only over the karma, or the action, or the duty. And an individual has no right over, the results of that karma. And if we keep ourselves, indifferent in the situation of loss or gains, or getting money or not getting money, victory and the defeat, then it is definitely going to provide us inner peace. But for this, we need to do a lot of practice of Sankhya. We need to, teach to ourselves there that we are bound to this ideologically. It should not be occasional, that at sometimes we are doing it and sometimes we are not. And in ancient India, our sages have been doing this, and they to a very great extent, have been able to get the inner peace, have been able to get the social peace and the regional peace. So I would recommend the Sankhya Yoga of Gita for having inner peace, which has a philosophical foundation, which has a, something which, one can argue, something which can, one can suspect and get the answer for his queries, his suspicion, or such kind of things. It is based on the argumentativeness. Also, you have the arguments, you have the formulations and the counter formulation, the concepts, and these concepts over several centuries have been practiced by the people. The things like Vipassana are also, they also get originated from this. That gives you, inner peace. So it is, something a very, very great legacy India is having through its philosophical, cultural consciousness and the civilizational consciousness. And if this message of Bhagavad Gita is spread all through the world, I think we are going to have, a great time ahead. And besides doing our meditation, our yoga, and such kind of things, we if we want to have a deeper um, uh, availability of inner peace, then we need to work on Sankhya, Yoga, and the philosophy of Gita, what Lord has told us. And it is something which is very well profounded. I mean, there is no doubt about this knowledge. There is no doubt about this philosophy or this concept or this notion or the proposition. And it is something which is already there and in our scriptures. So with these words, I thank you. And
Thank you very much, sir. I think this message is so profound. You summarized the summary of whole Bhagavad Gita is chapter 2, and you actually summarized chapter 2 also. So it is a kind of Sarvasar Upanishad that you mentioned right now, the summary of all summary. And this message, what you just now gave, is being telecasted basically for Eastern time zone, EST, for North American and South American continent. They are watching it. They are starting their day with this message. 10:15 to 10:30 was the time, morning time. They are listening to this. And you rightly mentioned, sir, that in order to bring that inner peace, first to identify your own swadharma hatova prapyasi swargam jitva bhokshase mahim. So beautifully you mentioned. And once walking on the path of your swadharma, you mentioned karmani eva adhikaraste. Focus on your efforts and don't worry about the results. And when ups and downs in life come, then you also mentioned samatvam yogachate, be equipoised in that. And you also called upon youth to be sthit pragya, transcendentally situated human beings. And how to do that? If you fail to do that, you also mentioned about the vicious cycle of decay, where how our possessiveness and attachment leads and we perish because of it. You called upon Nishkam Karma Yoga, and you also mentioned Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam. I'm sure that listening all these things, our youth will be awake in the light of wisdom. And at the end, you never forgot to tell them that we need to practice it. These philosophies are great indeed, but we need to live these philosophies. I'm personally very much inspired listening to it. I'm sure the audience who will be listening to it from different parts of the world will also be inspired. Thank you very much, sir, for your time, effort, and guidance. It means a lot to us.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Professor Sanjay Srivastava for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.